This review contains spoilers. This game is awesome. Infamous Second Son is a wonderful addition to the Infamous franchise. This game has many improvements upon Infamous 1 and 2, but at the same time has diminished in some aspects. Infamous Second Son is by far the most beautiful Infamous game ever made. Sucker Punch was never really the go-to studio when it came to fantastic visuals, but this time they provided outstanding graphics with Infamous Second Son. The game's open world, which is a recreation of Seattle, is highly detailed, running at full 1080p and hovering about maybe 30 to 40 frames per second. Despite not being at the mainstream 60 frames per second, Infamous Second Son plays incredibly smoothly and you really won't complain. The powers, the people, and the city are beautifully crafted, and when you unleash your power for the first time, you'll have something to look at for sure. Sometimes I just stand atop a tall building feeling like a total badass as I watch over Seattle. Good job, Sucker Punch, on this one. In Infamous Second Son, which takes place in Seattle, you play as Delsin Rowe, who has the very special ability to absorb powers from Prime Conduits. Prime Conduits are essentially mutants who have acquired their superpowers through natural means, as in awakening within themselves. After Delsin absorbs his smoke abilities from an escaped convict named Hank, he will encounter Augustine and the DUP. What's the DUP? The DUP is a force that is tasked with capturing the conduits and storing them in a facility called Curtin K. Delsin's main goal in the game is clear: remove those shards from his race, but to do that, he must first absorb Augustine's powers, as they can only be removed the same way they got in there. Delsin is accompanied by some supporting characters like his brother Reggie, who helps him out throughout the game's story with his police status. As far as story goes, Infamous Second Son does a good job with immersing you into the lore of Infamous and at the same time introducing you to the conduits and how they came to be. The game's villain, Augustine, is a total bitch, and the game successfully establishes her as a villain you'd hate. There are many things in the game that Augustine will do to make you hate her even more, and trust me, by the end of the game, you'll be hating the shit out of Augustine. I don't know how many times I used the word hate. The game's story also involves a karma system, good and evil karma. On good karma, you have different cutscenes, different missions, and it's the same with evil karma. In the end, the game will take you about 13 to 15 hours to reach on 100% completion. On one side of the karma, meaning that the game will take you about a total of 25 to 30 hours if you are a real perfectionist and you want to complete both sides with 100% completion. As far as the main campaign goes, Infamous Second Son will take about 8 to 10 hours, which is evidently shorter than Infamous 2. Infamous 2 also had a better story, in which that it had larger things at stake, such as saving the entire planet, while Delsin's story is merely saving his family mostly. But that's not a bad thing, it still does a good job at that. While Infamous 2 had the better story and length, Second Son improves tremendously in its combat. This is where Infamous Second Son has evolved from the other games in the series. In Infamous Second Son, you don't just have the advertised smoke abilities. You'll unlock neon powers, which are essentially laser beams and the ability to run really fast across the map. The game touts it as light speed, but it's more like the speed of sound. It's not really light speed. You'll also unlock the new video power, which allows you to conjure digital swords for deadly melee attacks. And it also allows you to go invisible, summoning flying angel minions to either distract or flying demons to destroy your enemies. As far as power selection and combat, Infamous Second Son is a tremendous improvement from Infamous 2, with a variety of powers to use, keeping the game fresh as you don't really have to use one power the entire game. I, for one, used the video powers for the most of the game, as it had great mobility and at the same time great offense. The game's karma system also comes into play when it comes to the powers. For instance, good karma's video powers will give you longer invisibility so you can do non-lethal takedowns, while the evil karma's video powers invisibility is shorter, but it does deadly takedowns, obliterating your foes completely. As far as the game's difficulty goes, in normal mode, enemies in the game are relatively easy to beat and not even really that hard in expert. Although in expert difficulty, I couldn't just jump in and shoot the crap out of everyone Rambo style. I had to strategize a little bit here and there. Good and evil karma also have different side quests and different parts of the open world that each side must accomplish. For instance, players who are going through the good karma must heal civilians and even stop drug dealers, while the evil karma players simply screw shit up and kill cops or even murder those people playing music in public to earn their respective karma points. Now, this is one thing I didn't like. Boss battles in the game are too easy, and they lack variety in terms of styles and ways to beat them. Most of the time it's dodge, wait for the right time, shoot with all your might. That's it. The boss battles are boring as hell and it could use improvement. In the game, the DUP has strewn command posts all around the map, and you must destroy these posts to unlock side missions in the sector and even locate all the blast shards. The blast shards are extremely useful as they can be used to upgrade your powers, giving you a significant advantage against your enemies. Also, at the end of the game, for the good karma side, as I observed, there are sometimes DUP raids where the DUP will essentially raid an area which they have lost to you. But it only happened like 3 times for me, so I don't know if that's really common for all of you guys. As far as gameplay goes, despite all its flaws, you're going to have a blast with Infamous Second Son. Overall, Infamous Second Son is a great addition to the series with a decent storyline and great combat. The game will make you feel like a true superhero or a true supervillain depending on your playstyle. The game, however, once done with both good and evil karma sides, doesn't have much replayability as the side quests are repetitive as hell, and there aren't even really many extras or collectibles that you can find in the game. Some may find good karma to their liking, some evil, but of course, the game will definitely require 2 playthroughs for a full taste of the pie. Although the game is too easy and the enemies really lack variety, I mean, you're facing the same enemies throughout almost the entire game, it's worth its asking price, but it's not a fantastic game. I give Infamous Second Son an 8 out of 10. A great game. It has a decent value with a minimum of 15 hours of fun, with the dev Sucker Punch supporting the game post-release with the weekly 6-part DLC, The Paper Trail, that promises to give you about 5 hours of extra content. If you have a PlayStation 4, why not pick it up? Hope you found this review helpful, and as always, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.
Can't think of anything. This is pretty freaking awesome.